Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session today. Let's start off first of all by sending out prayers and love to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What's happening right now with the eruption of Mount Sophia, that is definitely not something that we would want for any of our brothers or sisters in the Caribbean. And obviously here in Barbados, we are also being affected as well by the ash that is coming across the sky to our atmosphere as well. We will continue to be safe, and I ask that everyone as well continue to be as safe as possible. Take into consideration all of the precautions that have been circulating on social media and through our news stations. And I'm sure that once we do everything that we need to, we will all be able to get through this together and come out on top of this extremely horrible situation. So today I wanted to have a bit of a discussion, kind of like a continuation to the last video where we spoke about emotional intelligence. A lot of people would have come again and approached me via email and via DMs, basically saying, yeah, it's one thing to say that we are in control of our emotions, but there are certain situations that come up that we are just so overcome with emotions or overcome with sadness or grief or frustration or being overwhelmed. How exactly can we deal with these situations? And it led me to think about a lot of people that I know personally who are going through a number of situations that result in feelings of loss. Usually when we hear about feelings of loss, people tend to stick to the ideal or the idea that is loss of someone through death, a family member or a friend. But we have to remember that there are different levels of loss. Right now, going through the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people would have lost jobs. That would have evoked emotions that would have been similar to that of someone losing a person, because your job is your source of income. Your job is the way that you provide for your family. So in those cases, a loss of a job is extremely difficult to deal with, and many people are unable to manage those feelings in a positive way, which will go towards them finding a new source of employment. So again, loss of a job. Some people might have lost family members, not to death, but in the situation where they're no longer a source of support. People who may have made decisions that may not have been in the line of what their parents may have wanted, or another set of family members may have wanted, they may have been cut off, or for that reason they feel those things, that similar feeling of loss. And again, people lose significant others, people lose friendships. All of these things, or all of these areas, can also produce these feelings that one would associate primarily to loss of someone through death. So again, we have to understand that these things are all viable and are all relevant, and people need to be able to understand how to identify these feelings, understand these feelings, and also manage them in a way that is allowing you to deal with them emotionally, but also get ahead and not allow for them to take control of you and hinder your personal development and your personal growth. So that's basically what we're going to be discussing today. Basically a spin-off of emotional intelligence, but specifically as it relates to how to deal with loss in general. Now, loss in any area can be extremely touchy for any individual who is experiencing it. And those people around that individual also feel away because they don't want to come off as being condescending or not understanding what that individual is going through. What I would recommend is to keep those lines of communication open. You are going to need to be able to express how you are feeling in one way or another. if you don't have a close person that you trust and that you are confident has your best interests at heart, there are other options. Right now, people are very keen on using social media in the form of vlogs and blogs to get their feelings out, to put pen to paper at times and write a diary on what you're going through, knowing that having expressed that or expressing these feelings will help a whole lot as well. Me personally, I am an advocate for speaking and verbalizing and communicating, because I find that when you actually say certain things and you hear yourself saying certain things, it begins to register and actually allow for the healing that is necessary to occur. It is important for us to remember that we cannot stay in these emotional states that we find ourselves in. There is a time for all of these emotions, and all of these emotions are relevant, and all of these emotions are needed in order for the individual to get through the process. But you cannot sit and stew in them, because at the end of the day, it's not going to go towards personal development. It's actually going to bring you down to a level where you are unable to function within society effectively or within your life effectively. So I encourage persons to understand that these things, or what you are feeling, is normal. This is just part of the process, unfortunately. But to also understand that you are stronger, or you are strong enough to get out of these situations. And in situations where you are dealing with a death of a loved one, I am sure if you sat and you thought about it, the loved one that you lost would not want you to sit and just be sad every day for the rest of your life over their death. In most situations, they would want you to continue to grow and continue to do good and continue to make them proud. And that is something that we should always be cognizant of, or we should always have at the front of our minds when dealing with these situations. Yes, sadness, there is a place for sadness, there is a place for grief, but at the end of the day, we cannot sit there and stay in that position, because it's not going to help us in any way. So if you are someone who would have lost their job during this time or lost their livelihood, I believe that it's important for you to stay positive. It can be difficult, I know, but the reality is that once we stay positive in our thoughts and our actions, things are more likely to become resolved and your state of being improved because of it. If we continually stay in a negative mindset, or we expect the worst, that is usually what follows as it relates to your progression in life. So we need to be sure that we are consistently trying to stay as positive as possible. Again, I know that it's not easy, because when you are in the midst of a loss, a real significant loss in your life, it's easier for you to just fall and wonder how things are ever going to improve. But in that state, there is not much room for progress, or there is not much room for you getting out of it. So it's better off for you and for the people around you to stay positive and start to put actions or put things in place to try to get out of that position that you are currently in. As I said, using blogs, using the opportunity to update your CV, and that if that applies to you, using the opportunity to do a course maybe that might help you get closer to a dream job that you may have in mind, taking into consideration feedback that you may have received from your previous employer, trying to take it with humility and understanding and see how it can help you to grow professionally and possibly acquire even a better position in another establishment. So those are some of the things that I would recommend for an individual who may be going through a job loss at this time. So again, the way that each and every one of us deals with loss is different and is individual, just like how we are. And the worst thing that we can do for people that we are trying to help in that situation is to cast judgment or to tell people what they should be feeling, because at the end of the day, you do not have that power, or you don't have that luxury. Everyone is going to deal with their situation differently. All we can do is try to encourage. All we can do is try to allow them to see that we have their best interests at heart. And all we can do is be that level of support that they need during this time, even if they are not in a place where they want to communicate certain things or express certain things. Just being there for them whenever they are ready is a huge deal. And I think that it is something that we should all be able to provide for that individual, especially if they are someone of importance to us. Just to end off the video, it's important to remember that all of our feelings are valid. All of our feelings are okay. It's okay to feel these things. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to use these feelings or understand these feelings in a way that is not going to cause us physical or mental harm. We have to be able to manage them and not allow them to manage or control us. And once we're able to get that done, we can blossom, or we can become even better individuals and become even stronger individuals. And that should be the overall want or desire or need for all of us, to come out on top of these different situations that are challenges that we find ourselves in. So again, thank you so very much for watching. 3TCAAMP is always here for anyone who needs any assistance with dealing with these issues. And if you are not comfortable with 3TCAAMP, but you know of another person that you trust, or another establishment or entity that you trust to help you in these situations, I definitely encourage you to reach out, because it doesn't matter how you get through this. The important thing is that you get through it in a healthy manner. You get through it in a way that is going to be beneficial to you and the people around you. And that is my main objective. So thanks again for tuning in and listening to the session. I am encouraged by the amount of support I am getting online as it relates to what 3T is doing. So I thank you all for that help and that encouragement. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and to share these videos, because I'm sure that they will be beneficial to many people on the island. And that is the goal. That is the goal, to get this message out to as many people as possible. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and please be safe. Please be safe. Bye-bye, everybody.